We didn't get married super early. Vitaly, my husband, was 32 then. I was already 35. We still felt young and active, and there were so many things we wanted to do together. Travel around lots, try new stuff, grow our business, build a home somewhere. Kids weren't a forefront consideration then. Neither of us felt ready. So we agreed it's something we'll revisit in the future when we had more money and life was more stable. It's been 6 years since. I'm now 41, Vitaly is 38, and life just keeps getting more awesome. We weathered a pandemic together, closed the business down, sold it for parts, relocated to Bali, Indonesia, and got to financial independence, retire early, before my 40s. Marriage is tough business, even more so when you don't work separately and you're pretty much just together 24/7. But for the most part, I think we're as happily married as two people can be. And still, we don't have kids. We've been thinking about it loads, especially since my 40s rolled around. There's been so much pressure to have kids, sometimes seemingly just because we don't. V and I have had many conversations. Despite all these years sitting on the fence, my clock never ticked. We never really felt that urge to procreate. At best, we were yeah, maybe. But we were never a resounding, yes, let's do it. And we both think, actually, that's the biggest reason why we shouldn't have them. I mean, the world doesn't need more disinterested parents. Kids are so darn cute. For a lot of people, it is having kids that make their life meaningful. Without their kid, something's just missing. There are all types of people out there, though. Growing up, I never had that narrative of, you're gonna grow up, get married, and have kids pushed on me. When I imagined my future and the life I wanted to experience, I realize now I never envisioned children in that picture. I just assumed the urge to have those would hit later at some point when that biological thing kicks in. Like for everyone else. I mean, that must be why everyone else is having children, right? Parenting sucks balls. Everyone knows that. Years of never sleeping enough, no personal life, having to work harder and make more money so you can give your kids the best. Not to mention the whole squeezing a watermelon out through a nostril thingy. To be honest, I can't fathom why anyone would have kids unless they really, really want them. We all know people who didn't really feel it, right? But they kind of just unthinkingly followed the herd anyway. Or maybe some of them were thinking, well, now I'll have someone to take care of me in my old age. Or a myriad other things. None of which really are truly good reasons to have kids. To me, that's just a recipe for years of regret, actually. Thankfully, nature has rigged it such that most parents love their kids to death and they wouldn't change anything for the world. Studies and research shows that apparently, despite the experiential pain of actually raising children, the tantrums, the struggles of their schooling years, etc., having children is life's ultimate transformative experience. They call it eudaimonic well-being, that feeling that one has lived a life worth living. On the other hand, anonymous surveys also indicate that when asked, many of those same parents reflected that though they love their kids, if they could do it all over again, they may not have had them. Whilst we're looking at science, it's comforting to me that studies also reflect that the childless and the child-free amongst us are usually also living happy and fulfilled lives, sometimes even happier than the married and the parenting. It often comes down to those men and women choosing to reframe their identities and focus on other possibilities in life outside of being a parent to find meaning and satisfaction. So far, we could never logic ourselves out of the emotional truth we feel, which is that our lives now, with our passion pursuits, our joy from our two fur kids, connecting with our friends and family and community. It feels amazing and complete. It doesn't feel like there's a missing piece labeled kids. Many people say they'll be bored to tears if they retire early and it's just the two of them, no kids or grandkids. The opposite is true for us, though. It always feels like there's never enough hours in the day to do all the stuff we like. Some people look at our lives and say that it's really selfish, that our lives are shallow and meaningless, especially because we don't have kids, and somehow that's so wrong. Which I totally reject, by the way. I absolutely do not believe there is something wrong with being child-free or childless. But really, again, who cares what other people say? It's really no one else's business but our own. It's our lives. Nothing wrong with living it well. We should live it well. It's difficult to admit this, but what keeps me returning to the question of kids or no kids in my mind is wondering if, as many people claim, we'll regret it later if we don't. That's the school of thought that people like us couldn't possibly understand what we are missing out on until we've experienced it. We can never fully comprehend what it's like not having something we've never had, and I do think this is possibly the truth, but it doesn't make my life any less valid or my contentment or happiness false just because I'm not raising children. As someone once put it, the business of life is the acquisition of memories. In the end, that is all there is. Love and meaning comes in so many different shapes and sizes. Yes, having kids is a kind of personal growth unlike any other, but it is ultimately but one way to live and experience life. There are other options. We live in cultures that expect us all to have kids. But I think we shouldn't have kids until we're really sure we want them. And then yes, of course we should. It's just sad that many people do it because they think they should, not because they really want to or that they are ready to. For those people, I think it's important to hear that they actually don't have to. There's no right or wrong answer about this. It is only a personal choice. Whichever we choose, we must be happy with our lives. And that is what I wish and hope for all of you out there. Thank you so much for staying with me throughout today's video. I hope it was helpful, some food for thought for you as usual. And let's chat again soon in the next video. Bye!